Haribol. Jai Saparika Shishi Guru Gaur Chandraju Ki Jai. Jai Shri Raj Govardhanju Ki Jai. I don't think this is working. Vande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Astutar Sri Sriman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Astutar Sri Sriman Srila Bhakti Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai, welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Morning Class. Dandavat. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jita Parakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitangstam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Jai, welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Morning Class. Haribol. Jai, reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Adi Lila Volume 1. This is the 7th chapter. And Srila Prabhupada has just given us so many scriptural examples of how the Supreme Personality of God is ultimately the Supreme Person. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya, text 113. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Ki Jai. Srila Om Vishnu Parayasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Chirananda Devotara Sthana Parivara Tare Kahe Prakrita Satvera Vikara. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is full of spiritual potencies. Therefore his body, name, fame, and entourage are all spiritual. There's nothing material about him. The Mayavadi philosopher, due to ignorance, says that these are all merely transformations of the material modes of goodness. In the 7th chapter of the Gita, the Supreme Lord has classified his energies in 2 distinct divisions, namely Prakrita and Aprakrita. Aprakrita, or Para Prakriti, and Apara Prakriti. There are 2, it's not all material, and then everything else is just nothing. There are 2 different, complete natures. Tara dosha nahi teho agya karidasa araje shune tara haya sarvanasha. Shankaracharya, who is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, is faultless because he is a servant carrying out the orders of the Lord. But those who follow his Mayavadi philosophy are doomed. They will lose all their advancement in spiritual knowledge. So really, if you want to learn more detail about this, you can read more of these purports. Purports are very, very nice and describes many details about the Mayavad philosophers and the mistake that they are making. Text 115. Prakrita kariyamane Vishnu kalevara Vishnu ninda adanahi ihara upara. One who considers the transcendental body of Lord Vishnu to be made of material nature is the greatest offender at the lotus feet of the Lord. There is no greater blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami explains that the variegated personal feature of the Absolute Truth is the Vishnu Tattva, its variegated nature, and that the material energy which creates a cosmic manifestation is the energy of Lord Vishnu. It's not that they're equal. That is only one of his many, many potencies. And Lord Vishnu cannot be compared to the demigods. They are all empowered by him. Haribol. So one who thinks there's a difference between Lord Vishnu's body and his soul dwells in the darkest regions of ignorance. His body is fully transcendental, whereas our body and our self or our soul is very different from each other. And one who considers the Archamurti Buddhi, the Archamurti means the deity of Lord Vishnu to be stone, the spiritual master to be an ordinary human being, and a Vaishnava to belong to a particular caste or creed, is possessed of hellish intelligence. One who follows such conclusions is doomed. Any question?
No, not yet.
Ishvarera tattva jaina jwalita jwalana jivara swarupa jaiche stulingera kana. The Lord is like a great blazing fire, and the living entities are like small sparks of that fire. A great blazing fire. That's the Lord. And little teeny sparks are coming up, and those are like the jivas. And if the sparks try to live away from the fire, they'll die. We are fully dependent upon the absolute reality of which we are a small part. But someone is the full thing, and all other things are his energies. Jiva Tattva Shakti Krishna Tattva Shakti Man Gita Vishwa Purna Nadi Tahate Praman. The living entities are energies. They are not the energetic. They're not the source of the energy. The energetic is Krishna. This is very vividly described in the Bhagavad Gita, the Vishnu Purana, and other Vedic literatures. And of course, Mahaprabhu is the one who is speaking these verses. He's speaking them to the Mayavad sannyasis. As already explained, there are three prasthanas on the path of advancement in spiritual knowledge, namely Nyaya Prasthana, or the Vedanta philosophy, Shruti Prasthana, or the Upanishads and the Vedic mantras, and the Smriti Prasthana, the Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, and the Puranas, etc. Unfortunately, Mayavad philosophers do not accept the Smriti Prasthana. Smriti refers to the conclusions drawn from the Vedic evidence. Sometimes Mayavadi philosophers do not accept the authority of the Bhagavad Gita and the Puranas, and this is called Ardha Kutinyai, or the logic of half of a hen. If one believes in the Vedic literatures, one must accept all the Vedic literatures recognized by the great Acharyas. But the Mayavadi philosophers only accept Nyaya Prasthana and Shruti Prasthana, rejecting Smriti Prasthana. So in other words, they're using the Vedas as evidence, but they only use some of them. And they reject the ones that don't say what they're saying. They don't know how to harmonize everything. So that's the logic of accepting half of a hen. No one can avoid the personality of Godhead in the statements of the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literature, such as Mahabharata and the Puranas. Lord Chaitanya therefore quotes a passage from the Bhagavad Gita. Aparye mamitastvanyam prakritam vidime param jiva bhutam mahabaho jayedam daryate jagat. Besides these inferior energies, Almighty Armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Besides these inferior energies, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So he's described material nature, and now he's saying then there's the conscious personalities, the little who are trying to exploit that nature. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Chetragyakhya Tata Para Avijja Karma Samgyanya Tritiya Shakti Rishyate. The potency of Lord Vishnu is summarized in three categories, namely the spiritual potency, the living entities, and ignorance. So the three potencies are the spiritual potency, the living entities, and the potency of illusion or ignorance. The spiritual potency is full of knowledge. The living entities, although belonging to the spiritual potency, are subject to bewilderment. And the third energy, which is full of ignorance, is always visible in fruitive activities. And this is a quotation from the Vishnu Purana. So all of these verses that Mahaprabhu is quoting, he's giving evidence to the Mayavad philosophers, the Mayavadi sannyasi, that they are incorrect, and that the statements of Shankaracharya in his Bhasya are incorrect, but not blaming him. He's doing what he was supposed to do. Many things in this purport to give evidence about this. Hena jiva tattva lanya liki para tattva achana karila shrestha ishvara mahatva. The Mayavad philosophy is so degraded that it has taken the insignificant living entities to be the Lord, the supreme truth, thus covering the glory and supremacy of the absolute truth with monism. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments in this connection that in all Vedic scriptures, the Jiva Tattva, the truth of the living entities, is mentioned to be one of the energies of the Lord. If one does not accept the living entity to be a minute infinitesimal spark of the Supreme, but equates the Jiva Tattva with the Supreme Brahman or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it must be understood that his entire philosophy is based on a misunderstanding. Unfortunately, Sripad Shankaracharya purposely claimed the Jiva Tattva, or the living entities, to be equal to the Supreme Lord. It just is astonishing. Therefore, the entire philosophy is based on misunderstanding, and it misguides people to become atheists, whose mission in life is unfulfilled. Okay, many more verses here. Vyasera sutre te kahe parinamavad Vyasa branta bali atara uttai lavivad. In his Vedanta Sutra, Srila Vyasadeva has described that everything is but a transformation of the energy of the Lord. Shankaracharya, however, has misled the world by commenting that Vyasadeva was mistaken. And yet he's quoting other scriptures that Vyasadeva gave. This has raised great opposition to theism throughout the entire world, creating a doubt in Vyasadeva. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, of course the Vedanta Sutra was given by Vyasadeva, and they're completely absorbed in studying the Vedanta Sutra. Well, why would they study something from someone who could be wrong? But the fact is that Vedavyas is an incarnation, a literary incarnation of the Lord, and he is faultless. There's no question of him being wrong. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, in the Vedanta Sutra of Srila Vyasadeva, it is definitely stated that all cosmic manifestations result from transformation of various energies of the Lord. And Shankaracharya, however, not accepting the energy of the Lord, thinks that it is the Lord who is transformed. He has taken many clear statements from the Vedic literature and twisted them to try to prove that if the Lord or the Absolute Truth were transformed, his oneness would be disturbed. Transformed by what? Is there another energy that has all this power to transform the Lord into something else? He doesn't try to make sense. Shankaracharya is not trying to make sense. He's just saying something, and those who are sufficiently foolish and unfortunate will just believe him. There's no sense in what he's saying there, but he's just saying it. Thus he's accused Srila Vyasadeva of being mistaken. In developing his philosophy of monism, however, he's established Vivartavad, or the Mayavad theory of illusion. Mayavad, the illusion path. In the Brahma Sutra, 2nd chapter, the first aphorism is as follows. Tad ananyatvam arambana sabda dibhya. Commenting on this sutra in his Sarirakbhasya, Shankaracharya has introduced the statement Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam from the Chandyoga Upanishad to try to prove that acceptance of the transformation of the energy of the Supreme Lord is faulty. He has tried to defy his transformation of energy in a misguided way, which will be explained later. Since his conception of God is impersonal, he does not believe that the entire cosmic manifestation is a transformation of the energies of the Lord. For as soon as one accepts the various energies of the Supreme Truth, one must immediately accept the Absolute Truth to be personal, not impersonal. For a person can create many things by the transformation of his energy. Right? You can go and transform a pile of wood and a few nails into something else. Many things can be done, but that doesn't mean that you're not there anymore. Doesn't make any sense. For example, a businessman transforms his energy in establishing many big factories or business organizations, yet he remains a person, although his energy has been transformed into these many factories or business concerns. They're saying that this energy has transformed, and therefore the Lord is transformed too. And he's become this mundane, anyway, whatever he says, is just not silly. The Mayavadi philosophers do not understand this very simple fact. Their tiny brains and poor fundamental knowledge cannot afford them sufficient enlightenment to realize that when a man's energy is transformed, the man himself is not transformed, but he remains the same person. So, actually, Mahaprabhu is defeating the Mayavad philosophers with common sense. It's simple. Truth is a very simple thing. And I keep saying this day, but it is a fact. And Shankaracharya's Sharirakbhasya is very complicated. You have to go into all kinds of contortions, and verbal contortions to try to cover up what is clearly and practically obvious. Parinamavade Ishvara Hayena Vikari Eta According to Shankaracharya, by accepting the theory of the transformation of the energy of the Lord, one creates an illusion by indirectly accepting that the Absolute Truth is transformed. So this is Mahaprabhu saying, according to Shankaracharya, by accepting the theory of the transformation of the energy of the Lord, one creates an illusion by indirectly accepting that the Absolute Truth is transformed. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments that if one does not clearly understand the meaning of Parinamvad, or transformation of energy, one is sure to misunderstand the truth regarding this material cosmic manifestation and the living entities. The analogy of misunderstanding a rope to be a snake is mentioned in the Mandukya Upanishad, and is meant to explain the error of identifying the body with the soul. Since the soul is actually a spiritual particle, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, it is due to illusion that a living being like an animal identifies the body with the self. And anyone who's practicing spiritual life can begin to see this clearly. It's not just a theory. In practice, one can begin to really see the difference between his body and his self. And it creates a kind of astonishment that a conscious being can ever identify with some unconscious thing. It's astonishing. But through practice, that is possible. But the Mayavad philosophies are all engaged in talking and some meditation and not any actual spiritual practice. They can't even understand this truth. They can understand something, but they can't understand the fact that we are eternally conscious and that we have eternal desires for seva, for love, for giving, for devotion to the infinite, not to some small other wretched soul, but to the infinite. The infinite possibility of the soul is astonishing. But they just want to go to sleep. They just want it to be over. All right. Jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Jai, all the wonderful mercy that Mahaprabhu bestowed upon the Mayavad philosophies of Varanasi ki Jai. Jai, Srila Om Vishnupadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj ki Jai. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Shri Shri Upadesamrta ki Jai, Srila Rupa Goswami ki Jai, and also Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. So now we've come to the fourth verse of Upadesamrta, the commentary by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur on page 449, Tat Karma Pravartana. Can you hear okay in there, Ananya?
Yes, I
Haribol. So page 449. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu has prescribed Tat Karma Pravartana for persons endeavoring for bhajan. In Sri Upadesamrta is described karma, in which there is cultivation of pure. In Upadesamrta is described karma in which there is cultivation of pure bhakti as tat karma. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna says to Sri Uddhava, so karma meaning action, the work. Jai Shri Shri Guru Jai. O Uddhava, I will now describe the foremost means to awaken prema bhakti to me. So that's what tat karma means. What do I do now to make progress? Please listen. First there is sadhana bhakti. By practicing it, prema bhakti awakens. Please hear about sadhana bhakti. All of the following are means of bhakti to me. Shraddha in the nectarian narrations of my leelas, faith in the nectarian narrations about my activities. 1. Constant glorification of me, deep attachment to my worship, reciting praises of me, earnest engagement in my service, obeisances unto me with the entire body, worship of my devotees, awareness of my presence in all beings, performing all bodily activities for my sake, praising me with words, offering one's mind to me, giving up all selfish desires, giving up all consumption and enjoyment of wealth for my service. Giving up all consumption and enjoyment of wealth for the sake of my service. It's a little difficult. So, for the sake of my service, giving up all consumption and enjoyment of wealth, and performing oblations, charity, fire sacrifices, japa rites, and austerities for my sake. Through the practice of these limbs of Dharma, the surrendered soul develops prema bhakti to me. For such a sadhaka, what other objective, what other goal remains? So this is tat karma. All of these things are very positive for progress. So sometimes we hear that there is some kind of religious practice. But a lot of times that is simply to keep that person as part of that group and to show his faith in that group. But whether there's really positive progress and experience of a divine, a clear and more clear divine existence through those practices, I don't know. I doubt, or it's not so very much. But these practices, under the shelter of the great Vaishnava, they're very powerful. And our lives change very quickly. Very quickly. Right? I mean, so quickly. Like eons of illusion are suddenly lifted with so much ease by the potency of these practices that are given by the Lord. And therefore they're imbued with the potency of His mercy. If He says, no, don't do that, then we don't do it. But these are the advices of the Lord, and they are very, very powerful. Based on these instructions of Sri Bhagavan, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu in his Sri Upadesamrta Sindhu has divided all these activities into 64 limbs. And Srila Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu has summarized these activities in his Chaitanya Charitamrta. So this is very long verses, and I'll read the English. These 64 limbs of sadhana bhakti, you know what sadhana means, right?
No, what does it mean?
It's just our practices, our sadhana, because we are in the sadhana bhakti stage, where we are regulating our life with certain practices that are very, very purifying, especially hearing and chanting. Very powerful thing. These 64 limbs of sadhana bhakti are most prominent. Taking shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Guru, receiving initiation, serving Sri Guru, inquiring and learning about true Dharma, following the path of the sadhus, abstaining from enjoyment out of love for Krishna, residing in Krishna's abode, accepting only what is required from one's maintenance, fasting on Ekadasi, worshipping the Amalaki trees, sacred fig trees, cows, Brahmins and Vaishnavas, casting away all offenses in worship to the name and so forth. Casting away all offenses in worship, casting away offenses to the name and so forth in our worship, rejecting the association of non-Vaishnavas, not making any disciples, refraining from partially studying and commenting upon numerous texts. So I'm going to just make a comment here. Not making many disciples. Not making many disciples means not too many. More than what is necessary, or more than one's capacity. And also it refers to not making many disciples for the sake of looking very like a prominent guru. Some may have 1,000 disciples, and others may be 2 or 3 disciples and very giving. That is the capacity there, giving much nourishment there. Refraining from partially studying and commenting on many numerous texts, which we were just reading about, partially studying, being equipoised in loss and gain, not becoming subdued by lamentation and so forth, not blaspheming other deities or other scriptures, never listening to blasphemy of Vishnu or the Vaishnavas, never listening to village talk, which means gossip, not disturbing any living being with one's mind or words, hearing about Bhagavan, glorifying him, remembering him, worshipping him, offering obeisances to him, attending to him, serving him, being his friend, surrendering oneself to him, dancing before the deity, singing for the deity, expressing one's heart to the deity. That is important. When one is having some difficulty, come and express that and feel that reciprocation. Offering obeisances to the deity, receiving the deity by standing up out of respect when the deity gives darshan, following the deity in processions, visiting temples, circumambulating the deity, reciting hymns, this means kirtan, like reciting the different prayers to the Lord. Circumambulating means walking around the temple. Chanting softly, japa, chanting in congregation, honoring incense, garlands, and fragrances which have been offered to the deity, honoring the remnants of food which has been offered to the deity, participating in artis and festivals, receiving darshan of the deity, offering what is dear to oneself to the deity, meditating, serving tadiya, serving tadiya, which means those who are dear to the Lord, meaning Tulsi, the Vaishnavas, Mathura, and Srimad Bhagavatam, as Krishna desires that these 4 be served. Endeavoring solely for the interest of Krishna, looking for his mercy, participating with devotees in festivals honoring the Lord's birthday and so forth, surrendering in all respects, and offering Kartik and other vratas. Kartik vrata, there, there's different times of years and how we are observing those. The following 5 limbs are the best of all the sadhanas: associating with sadhus, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, residing in Mathura, and serving the deity with a faith. Even a slight connection with these 5 gives rise to Krishna prema. Any questions about any of that? Any of those things? So here we're going to be hearing a beautiful commentary on all of these. 1. First of all, persons aspiring for bhajan should take shelter at the feet of Guru. Without shelter at the feet of Guru, there can be no good fortune. Humans are of 2 types, undiscerning and discerning. Those who are undiscerning are absorbed in the pleasures of samsara, action and reaction. If by some turn of events they get the association of a great soul, discernment arises in their mind. They can tell what is what. That is by association. And we all know this. Then they realize how unfortunate I am. I'm absorbed in the satisfaction of the senses at every moment. I am passing my days only thirsting for the mundane. So that is the extreme importance of association. Some call this first association with a great soul. Some call this first association with a great soul association with the Shravan Guru, or the Guru from whom one first hears. At this time, by good fortune, Shraddha arises. When Shraddha arises, then one endeavors for bhajan. Then shelter at the feet of Guru becomes extremely necessary. Therefore, undiscerning persons, by good fortune, become discerning and then take shelter at Sri Guru's feet. Any question about this? No. The type of Guru one should take shelter of has been discussed in the scriptures. A householder who has conquered the 6 enemies of lust and so forth, whose body is free from disease, who serves Sri Krishna on the path of raga, who is a Brahmin and who knows the clear path of Vedic scriptures, who the sadhus can respect as a guru, who the sadhus can respect as guru. In other words, he's been recognized by the sadhus, who is able to subdue the senses, who is merciful to all living beings, who is not puffed up, he is not full of pride and conceit, who is sincere and truthful. They are qualified to be a guru. All these qualities are to be considered in 2 ways. Deep attachment, anurag, to Sri Krishna, which rebukes all other attachments, is Sri Gurudev's primary quality, and all other qualities are secondary. That Srimad Mahaprabhu has said, Kipa Vipra, Kipa Nyasi, Shudra Kene Nai, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta, Se Guru Hai. Whether a Brahmin, a sannyasi, or even a Sudra, one who knows the nature of Krishna is Guru. If he has that treasure, then who will reject that person because of some secondary thing? Any questions so far? And so he's saying whose body is free from disease, meaning the diseases of bad habits, of sinful habits. But ordinary disease is part of the body. There's no way to avoid that. But this is a different type of thing. One who has this primary characteristics is qualified to be a guru, even if some of the second characteristics are not present. Being a Brahmin and a householder should be counted as secondary characteristics. If these 2 secondary characteristics are present in a person who has the primary qualification, that is good. But those who are defective in the primary characteristics do not become qualified to be a guru because of these 2 secondary characteristics. Is that clear? Yeah. If one has the characteristic of love of Krishna, then the secondary characteristics of being a Brahmin and living in a pure household, they're not important. But if one does not have love of Krishna, then those other 2 characteristics do not qualify him to become guru. Maha Bhagavata Shresto Brahmano Vai Guru Nunam Sarvesham Evalokanam Asal Pujo Yatahari Mahakula Prasutopi Sarvad Yagyeshu Dikshataha Sahasra Shakajai Yicha Naguru Syad Avaishnava. One who is the best among the advanced devotees and a Brahmin is the guru of all human beings. Amongst all living beings, they are as worshipable as Hari himself. A non-Vaishnava cannot be a guru, even if they have taken a birth in a high caste, been initiated into all sacrifices, and studied thousands of branches of knowledge. So just by dint of being a qualified, highly qualified Brahmin, that does not qualify him to be guru if he has not developed love for Krishna. But a person who has developed love for Krishna is qualified to be guru, even if he is not a highly qualified Brahmin. In fact, Srila Saraswati Thakur established clearly that a Vaishnava is automatically qualified as a Brahmin, but of course, following if he's qualified Vaishnava. And then number 2 and 3. Once they find a qualified guru, a faithful disciple should sincerely serve their guru with great conviction. After satisfying Sri Gurudev, they should accept initiation into the Hare Shri Krishna mantra. Those who are averse to accepting initiation make a mere show of pseudo-kirtan and call themselves Vaishnavas, and they are extreme self-deceivers. So those who want to do kirtan and all these things but will not take shelter of one who belongs to Krishna, of the Vaishnava, then it's not real. It is not proper for worldly persons to reject initiation just because Jad Bharat and a few other great souls did not accept initiation. Initiation is a fixed prescription for jivas in every birth. If no initiation can be seen in the life of some realized soul, we should not make that a precedent. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is clarifying this point. There are exceptions, but those are exceptions and exceptional, and that's not our situation. General prescriptions are not repealed because of something plausible for someone in special circumstances. Sri Dhruva Mahashaya went to Dhruva Loka in his earthly body. Seeing that, should everyone pass their time hoping to follow that path? The jivas leave the material body and go to Vaikuntha in a spiritual body. This is the general rule. Dhruva's that was an extraordinary thing. We're not doing that, thinking that's going to happen to us. Now, I wouldn't want it personally. General rules are to be followed by people in general. When Sri Bhagavan, replete with inconceivable Shakti, desires something, then that happens. But we should never transgress the general rules because of this. Satisfying Sri Gurudev with sincere service, we should accept initiation from him into Sri Bhagavan's name and mantra and learn the nature of Bhagavan. Any questions on that point?
No.
And so tomorrow, we have time. Number 4, after receiving initiation and education, a fortunate disciple should follow the path of the previous sadhus. Ostentatious persons consider the previous Mahajans unworthy of respect and create new paths. As a result, they soon head down sinful paths and affect their own utter ruination. As a result, they soon begin to follow sinful paths and they cause their own destruction. Sri Skanda Purana has said, Samrigya Shreyasam Hetu Panta Santa Pavarjita Anavapna Shramang Purve Jena Shanta Pratastide. The path which the sadhus of the past traveled without toil is the path free from hardship and the cause of all good fortune. Those who pray for good fortune should follow this path. The path which the sadhus of the past traveled without toil, which means without hardship and hard work and all this troublesome materialistic life. That path which is followed is so easy, such easy life, lovely life. Those who in the past traveled that is the free path, free from hardship and the cause of all good fortune. Those who pray for good fortune should follow this path. That's in the Skanda Purana. Skanda Purana is full of beautiful verses. Really, it's amazing. By discussing the path of the previous sadhus, we develop determination and courage, and we feel satisfaction. When we discuss the path of bhajan and Sri Rupa, Sri Sanatana, Sri Raghunath, and Sri Haridas Thakur, then we feel such joy in our hearts that we are unable to express it. When cruel foreigners tortured Sri Haridas, he said, Kanda kanda hai deha jaya jadi pran, tabuami vandane na chadi harinam, e shavaji bere Krishna karaha prasad, mora drohe nahu e sabara aparad. Even if my body is cut to pieces and I lose my life, I will never give up chanting Hari's name. Oh Krishna, please bestow your mercy on all these jivas. May their offense in torturing me be excused.
Who is this speaking?
Haridas Thakur. He was ordered by the Muslim magistrate to be tortured through 14 marketplaces or something like 12 marketplaces, so everyone can see.
And his response to it was what?
Huh?
What was his response to it, like the verse that you just read?
He's saying, be merciful to these poor jivas. I'm so happy. My life is so joyful. I will never give up chanting your holy name. Let them cut my body to pieces. And please forgive them for that. Being merciful to all living beings with this type of determination and taking shelter constantly in Sri Hari's name is the previous Mahajan's path of bhajan. There is no new path. What is exemplified by them is the path of pure bhajan. Any external little adjustments due to time and circumstances, that's the small thing. But the real thing is given here. The path that is already there is the path of the sadhus, that the sadhus follow. Those who are ostentatious, means they're showing off, they're making a show, and greedy for fame make concerted efforts to invent new paths. Those who have prior good fortune give up such ostentatiousness and honor the original path. Those who are unfortunate entice themselves to dance down new paths and cheat the world. Regarding them, it has been written, Shruti smriti paranadi pancharatra vidimbina aikanti ki harer bhaktir udpataya kalpate bhaktir aikanti akanti ki veyam avichara pratiyate vastutastu tata naiva yad ashastriya tekshate. Without the rules of the Shrutis, Smritis, and Puranas, the Pancharatra and other scriptures, so-called resolute bhakti to Hari simply becomes a disturbance. So-called, meaning the imitation bhakti path, becomes a disturbance to society. It's a concoction of the mind. As a result of misjudgment, it appears to be resolute bhakti, but in reality is not so, because it is seen to be unscriptural. So where do we get knowledge? Knowledge is a descending thing. We can't concoct something in our mental cooking pot, in our mental kitchen, and call that bhakti. Bhakti is transcendental. It's not a mixture of material elements. And then you dress it in some kind of costume, and it just misleads people. So it must be following satovrite. Satovrite meaning following the heart expression, the heart revelation, and the words of the scriptures and the previous acharyas. They have that. That knowledge is what it really is. Just like a lamp of fire, it can light other things, and that's the same fire. But without fire, you're not going to get fire. It might look like something like that, but it will not give the result of the actual thing. Prabhuji, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting about this drum. Jaya Shri Upadesamrta ki Jaya. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj ki Jaya. Srila Om Vishnu Paresi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jaya. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yaravaya Nama. Yaravaya Maravaya Keshaya Nama. Gopal Govinda Ram Shrimadi Sudha. Jai Saparikashi Shri Guru Gaurachandra Ju Ki Jai,
Jai.
Shri Giraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Narottam Shamananda Srinivas Thakur Prabhu Ki Jai. Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Saparshad Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri
Jai.
Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai.
Jai.
Kadiya Saka Mat Ki Jai. Shri
Jai.
Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai.
Jai.
Kol Kartal Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nittai Gaur Premanandi Hari Gaur Jagannathi Tulsi Devi Ki Tadiya. Tadiya, who is very dear to Krishna, who is his, we will always worship. Every day.
And all the online devotees too. Ki Jai.
Jai.